Most people in crypto are looking for that Lambo to go to the moon. If that's what you're looking for, stay tuned. This video might help you get there. Hey, Fastnickel here. In today's video, I'm going to discuss Quant, XRP, and XLM in detail, and why this 1988 Economist cover that was created 20 years prior to Bitcoin, why does it matter? And even though this cover came out 20 years prior, I'm going to show you why it plays a role. I'm also going to show you why Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, these are all great coins to have. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure you have a little Quant, a little XRP, and a little XLM. This is not financial advice. This is just me putting the pieces together and why holding these three, in addition to whatever else you hold, including meme coins, because I have some Shiba Inu, and I did a video on Shiba Inu because they're launching their game. I believe that these three coins that are part of the ISO 20022 stable of coins are definitely worth having. And I'm going to go into detail why. So what you're looking at is a screenshot I took from CoinMarketCaps that show the current price of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. The first two, Bitcoin and Ethereum, are considered the top two. Solana is a very popular one. And then below it, you have Quant and Maker. Now, Quant and Maker have the same market cap, but when it comes to total supply, Maker has far less, which is why the price is higher. Now, you say to yourself, okay, I get it, but why is Quant so less valuable than Ethereum or even Solana? So let's first take a look at what they say about Bitcoin. So this article asks what gives Bitcoin its value. Why is Bitcoin valuable? It says, with so many crypto projects achieving remarkable market valuation, many people have become curious as to how these cryptocurrencies are valued. This is especially true when it comes to Bitcoin, which is the first ever blockchain platform. Now, it talks about total market cap, etc. You know, when you read this article, it talks about Bitcoin scarcity, only 21 million Bitcoin. It talks about what gives Bitcoin value. It's easy to move and difficult to take. It talks about decentralized. It talks about trust. And so that's part of why they say it. I also believe it's because it was the first to come to market. And so it is considered the store of value, digital gold. Okay. Now, let's go back and look at Ethereum. Now, before I go back to Ethereum, I just want to show you, for those who don't understand, I've indicated market cap. And again, Quant and Maker have the same market cap. And when it comes to total supply, Maker has a lower supply. And by the way, I like Maker. Maker is considered the sister or little sister to Ethereum. And by the end of 2025, I can see a price prediction, and this is not financial advice, a low end of 2,800, mid range of 5,000, and a high end of $7,000. So if you had Maker today, those are the projections I see by the end of next year. So what makes Ethereum valuable? The network utility and smart contracts. For one, Ethereum is the leading platform for decentralized applications for dApps and smart contracts, powering a vast ecosystem of projects including DeFi, decentralized finance, NFTs, non-fungible tokens, and decentralized exchanges, DEXs. This broad utility significantly increases demand for ETH as it is used to pay for transaction fees, gas, and on the Ethereum network. Some other reasons are adoption and ecosystem scale, liquidity and trading volume, market perception and awareness, deflationary dynamics, post-merge, meaning now it's proof of stake, broader use case, staking incentives, community and developer support. With all that said, then why am I so bullish on Quant? Outside of the fact that it's an ISO 20022 coin, which I'll get into, but bottom line is Quant has several initiatives and features in the works that differentiate from Ethereum and play to its strengths. Although its focus is quite different, Quant is not trying to replace Ethereum's ecosystem, but instead aims to provide interoperability and utility across blockchains and systems. That is key. Now, across blockchains and systems means right now, Solana network coins can't run necessarily on Ethereum, can't necessarily run on Bitcoin. They're different railroad tracks, as per se. What Quant is able to do is through interoperability, allow all of these tokens to merge together in one ecosystem. Now, it's doing that through Overledger, Overwallet, smart contracts, Fireblocks, tokenization of assets, partnerships and ecosystem growth, developer ecosystem focus on regulatory compliance, scarcity, and utility of Quant, future expansions, and of course ISO 20022. And I'm going to go into some of this. Now, what's key is Overledger, the interoperability. Quant's Overledger enhances blockchain interoperability by enabling seamless transaction signing across multiple blockchains through a single API. That is key. So now you're going to be able to have all these different items that you need APIs. It's all going to be able to be done through one. This functionality allows developers to connect their identity management system to various blockchains. As I said, interoperability, facilitating the authentication and signing of requests on behalf of users. By significantly complexities associated with multi-chain interactions, Overledger positions Quant as a valuable solution for enterprises seeking to integrate blockchain technology into operations. It's secure, adaptable, and future-proof. Design encourages compatibility with both current and emerging blockchain networks, making it a strategic choice for businesses aiming to leverage blockchain's potential. So how is Overledger similar to Ethereum? Quant's Overledger can be compared to Ethereum's Layer 2 solutions on middleware protocols in that both aim to enhance functionality, interoperability, and scalability. The key differences are blockchain agnosticism. Overledger is universal, connecting various blockchains, while Ethereum is specific to its ecosystem. That is a big key. The purpose is that Overledger focuses on interoperability across blockchains, where Ethereum solution, native or layer 2, focuses on solving scalability and transaction cost issues within its own network.
Banks and payment companies are exploring digital currencies to increase access to financial services whilst automating processes and lowering costs. Effective management of cryptographic keys and transaction signing is essential for authorization of blockchain transactions, but it remains a challenge. Existing key management solutions were not built for blockchain. Many lack the security and utility at scale needed to support millions of customers and billions of transactions. Overledger Authorize from Quant provides central bank grade key management for large-scale authorizations on multiple networks. Using flexible APIs, Authorize integrates with existing identity management, anti-fraud engines and AI models to authenticate and sign transaction requests. Keys can be generated and stored automatically in proprietary or third-party vaults. Once signed, transactions are passed to any supporting blockchain through Overledger, allowing seamless payments, transfers, and other transactions to major blockchains. Developers no longer need to code specific cryptographic interfaces to connect every blockchain and key store to every internal system. Authorize does it all. With Overledger Authorize, financial institutions and developers can securely overcome the hurdles of key management and bring authentication to the blockchain era. Talk to us and discover Authorize for your business.
So through Authorize, this is just one of the items that Quant is doing for the banking system. Everything is all tied to the banks. It's all about finance. So let's take a look at Overledger. So if you go to Quant's website, they talk about their Overledger platform and how it will transform your business with simple, trusted, and future-proof blockchain technology. Overledger is built for any case on any chain, featuring all these items. And the video that I just showed kind of sums all this up. But if you want to just read up on it, you can go to Quant's website on their Overledger, and it explains all of this. Again, the Bank for International Settlements, the BIS, is tied into this. With Overledger, interoperability is just the start. Now, I had mentioned before about tokenize your assets on any chain. It's all about tokenizing everything, and that's what Quant will do. It's going to also connect your assets to other blockchain networks through bridging. Allows you to remain in control, central bank grade key management, and transaction signing. Look at what they're doing here from a tokenization. So the plan is to simplify tokenization. This is the power of Overledger token flow, letting you create institutional grade tokens that will interact on the chain of your choice now and in the future in minutes without coding. This is where Web3 comes in. Superior smart contracts. So one of the things that's key for Ethereum is that they have smart contracts. That's what Quant is bringing in as well. So all the things that make Ethereum expensive, Quant is about to release, and you're going to see Quant skyrocket. That's not financial advice, but I'm just saying what it's doing. The thing that there's a video I'm going to show you by a member from the BIS. everything is about CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. So on any chain, they're planning to deal with the digital currencies, payments, cross-border payments, capital markets, and supply chain. So they are going to do all of that through tokenization. Now, the other thing they plan to do is through bridging. Through bridging, with the overledger.
Tokenization is transforming a wide range of assets, from currencies to carbon credits, funds to real estate. But unless these tokens are portable, they are destined to live in walled gardens, unable to reach their full potential. Connecting tokens to other blockchains without the right controls and security leaves your assets vulnerable. And building the right connection is complex, time-consuming, and expensive. Many bridges have poorly coded smart contracts and make use of escrow to lock your tokens until destination ones are minted. Such bridges are often subject to cyber attacks. In contrast, Overledger's bridges provide complete control of tamper-proof smart contracts at both ends, allowing tokens in one blockchain to be transferred for equal tokens in another. Created by experts in cybersecurity, our bridges burn and mint tokens in a single function, using the latest security protocols, removing the need for escrow and keeping your assets safe. Whether it's to trade digital currencies, increase liquidity for alternative assets, or create wider access to tokenized bonds, Overledger allows you to create secure bridges without any coding, quickly and with confidence, delivering interoperability with trust, resilience, and programmability built in. Overledger Platform, the enterprise standard for building on blockchain.
Now, just in case you didn't notice it, so they mentioned in this video about alternate assets and bonds. What their plan is, we're currently talking about crypto, but we know that crypto is just one of many asset classes. The plan is whatever assets you own, you're going to be able to have one central wallet where you can have all of your assets and you can mix and match, swap in and out anything that you want. That's the plan, that's the goal. Now, I mentioned Overwallet many times, so let me just show you one other thing when it comes to Overwallet. So Overwallet serves as the back end for authorized, also known as TSR, acting as an intermediary between authorized and both AWS, KMS, and Fireblocks, which I'm going to talk about Fireblocks next. Direct custodial wallets. The key features of Overwallet was developed with inspiration from Fireblocks direct custodial wallets. So Fireblocks is a way that they're creating these custodial wallets that are going to contain everything. They're going to map to Quant's location to Fireblocks asset IDs, and the test nets. There's a lot of great information here. Now, if you go back and we look at Fireblocks. So before I go dive deep into Fireblocks, let me take a moment to just explain what Fireblocks are. Fireblocks is an enterprise-grade platform that provides secure infrastructure for moving, storing, and issuing digital assets. It enables financial institutions, including exchanges, custodians, banks, trading desks, and hedge funds to securely scale their digital asset operations. Now, you see, this is a mixture of assets, all being tied to one. The platform utilizes advanced technology such as multi-party computation and secure hardware enclaves to safeguard private keys and API credentials, ensuring the protection of digital assets from cyber threats. Fireblocks also offers a comprehensive set of APIs and SDKs, allowing developers to rapidly build, automate, and scale Web3 applications with secure wallet infrastructure. Additionally, the Fireblocks network provides direct connectivity to over 30 crypto exchanges, facilitating instant and secure transfers across exchanges, fiat providers, liquidity partners, and counterparties. Now, tokenization of assets. The concept of tokenizing everything is rooted in the idea of leveraging blockchain technology to create unique, variable, and transferable digital representations of assets of data. This approach has several potential advantages: enhance security and trust, improve accessibility, efficiency in transactions, liquidity, etc. Examples of tokenization: World War assets, digital assets, identity and credentials, passports, educational certificates, your data, energy and resources. This is just some of the many. So now, let me show you more about Fireblocks. Fireblocks is the most secure and powerful digital asset treasury management. So this is what they're going to incorporate: the command for your digital asset operation. They've already secured over $45 billion in digital assets to protect digital assets against insider threats and attacks. A single interface to manage your entire digital asset business. So your DeFi trading operations, your NFTs, everything is going to be stored for you. So that is the many things that is going to happen with Quant. And I just, for time purposes, I just touched on a few of the things, but this is just some of the many things why Quant is going to be so powerful. So let me now touch on XRP and March 10th, 2025. I've talked a lot about XRP, but what I want to show you is in this document. So this document is still part of the overledger, but when you scroll down, it talks about call the endpoint. So it talks about creating an account, and when you look at this web address, it has hook, it has make.com. So let me show you why that is important. When you go to the on XRP, it talks about investing, the potential of hooks, which is what we just saw, and smart contract on the XRP ledger. So through XRP, they're planning to do all of this. So this is where XRP ties into Quant. Now, when it talked about make.com, Make is an automated software from tasks, workflows to apps and systems. Build and automate anything in one powerful visual platform. So They, again, no code workflow automation. Again, Web3. One platform, unlimited possibilities. Now, I spoke about XRP Africa in a prior video. Let me show you here. Again, coming back to the XRP ledger. The XRP ledger. Blockchain built for business. It's a decentralized public blockchain led by a global community of businesses and developers looking to solve problems and create value. Why developers choose the XRP ledger? These are just some of the many reasons. Payment channels, cross-current payments, decentralized tokens. Now, I'm gonna get a little technical here, but not too technical. Talking about XRP faucets. So XRP's faucets, these parallel XRP ledger test networks provide platforms for testing changes to the XRP ledger and software built on it without using real funds. So for those that are programmers, you know that you have a sandbox network. Anytime you're dealing with funds, so for instance, if you're going to integrate PayPal into your website, to test to make sure everything is working, you will tend to work in a sandbox environment. So it's not using real funds, but it's going through the process as though you were to make sure everything is working properly. So that's a breakdown explanation of what's going on here. Now, I've dealt with XRP in prior videos, so I don't need to hash in anymore. But as you can see, Quant, so far I've talked about Quant and I've talked about XRP. Is because as far as the United States goes, they have moved up the timeline. So according to the American Bankers Association, the plan is to have this in place in the U.S. by March of 2025. The Federal Reserve Bank Fedwire Fund Service will transition to the ISO 20022 message format on a single day, March 10th. The old Fedwire application interface manual format will be retired on March 9th. The format is mandatory. All banks will need to be compliant with the new format to enable successful wire transfers. This transition requires coordination among banks, service providers, and software vendors, and the Federal Reserve has prescribed a series of preparations and tests for all participants to ensure a smooth transition. Learn what your bank needs to do in the next 7 months to ensure your wire transactions aren't disrupted. So again, it's the ISO 20022 coins. If you look here at the Federal Reserve, this is frbservices.org. They talk about March 10th also, 2025. This is going to be all put in place. They're going digital. Fedwire gets a digital makeover, what you need to know about the 2025 ISO 20022 update. Again, why this article talks about the deadline, March 2025. And as I mentioned, the coins involved are XLM, all the ISO 20022 coins. So if you go to ISO to their website, just in case you don't know, where is it? Let me just do this. ISO 20022 coins. I've mentioned this before, but let me just show it again. These are the list of the compliant coins. XRP is at the top of that list. Cardano, 88, Quant, Algorand, Stellar, Hedera Hashgraph, HBAR, IOTA, XDC. Again, I'm not telling you what to do, what to own, what to buy. This is not financial advice, but if you own any of these cryptos or you're thinking about it, I think you'll be happy in 2025 if you own some of these coins. This is a video from a year ago called Bridging the Way to a Multi-CBDC World with Daniel Iden of the BIS. I'm going to just play a minute or two of this video, but this is the last piece I want to show you how XRP ties in.
Okay, there we go. Welcome, Converge. Today, I'm very excited to welcome Daniel. Oh, sorry, Daniel, I didn't ask you. Is your name pronounced Aiden or Iden?
Both are equally wrong, but equally okay.
Which one is what's correct?
The first one is good. The first one is good. Aiden is good. Yes.
Okay. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Converge. I'm excited to have Daniel Aiden and now my four-time guest and co-host Mickey Tesfaye from the team at Money 2020 back. Daniel is an advisor and solution architect at the Bank for International Settlements in the Innovation Hub, where he builds technology solutions for the central banking community with a special focus on blockchain and CBDCs. So that'll largely be the focus for today's discussion, given Daniel's expertise. Daniel, thanks so much for being here. In your own words, could you add a bit more around what you do at BIS, your background before joining BIS, and what brought you to the world of payments?
Yes. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. So maybe I'll give a broad kind of 10,000-foot view on what the BIS is, and then what the Innovation Hub within the BIS is, and then kind of how I found myself as part of the organization. So the BIS stands for the Bank for International Settlements. It's a bank that's been around for over 90 years, and it's a very special institution in the sense that we're colloquially called the Bank of Central Banks. So our exclusive clients and shareholders are the central banking community. We have 63 members in total across the globe, and we service all of the central banks around the world. The bank traditionally provided two main functions. The first one was kind of banking services, so you can think of things like reserve management and banking services that central banks have, open market operations, things like that. And the second one that we're probably more better known for is a forum for convening on different topics. So the BIS is the home of a lot of very, very important committees that really set the standards for banking supervision, payments, and insurance, and on and on and on. So without going into the alphabet soup of all the different committee names, that's kind of what we've done as a conventional kind of convening function. The latest addition to the Bank for International Settlements is the Innovation Hub. The Innovation Hub has been around for about 3 years now, and the Innovation Hub, I mean, as its name implies, is to innovate within the central banking world, and that's where my role comes in. So I've been at the Innovation Hub for almost 3 years, so almost from the very beginning. I originally started my role with the Innovation Hub out of our Hong Kong office. So I was located in Hong Kong for just over a year, and now I spent just about a year and a half or two in Switzerland. So now I'm calling out of our Swiss center. We have 7 locations around the world. So Switzerland, Singapore, and Hong Kong were the first, and then it followed with our London center, our Nordic center, our EU center, our Canadian center, and we have joint partnership with the Federal Reserve Bank of New York.
Great.
So what do we do? what do we do? I guess that's the next question. We essentially bring innovation into the central banking world, and I think about it like we connect between two very different stakeholders. One is the central banking community and the need of central banks to continuously innovate. This isn't really a new thing. There's innovation in central banking, consistently from the beginning of central banks. So the innovation in payments isn't anything new. So we shouldn't think about it as if it's a AI thing or a blockchain thing. Innovation in central banking functions is an ongoing requirement of staying relevant, because that's what it is. So we keep a focus on what the needs of central banks are around the world, and of course that varies by jurisdiction. And then we keep a focus on what's going on in the technology space, and we really try to marry those two things together. And how that comes together is through the form of very kind of hands-on projects. So we focus on proof of concepts and prototypes and pilots, and we really try to showcase technology solutions, mostly around the feasibility of the technology within the realm of central banking. So we assume there's a certain desirability. So if we're talking about payments, for example, the desire of to improve on cross-border payments, I think that's something that is not directly in our remit. So we get the desirability from the G20, the G7, different types of forums that will articulate these requirements. And then we come in and help test out the technical feasibility and some of the contours of these solutions, and specifically try to raise the policy issues to the decision makers that are relevant. So for example, we can build a prototype, test different technologies, and try to map out what trade-offs different implementations have, and then leave it to the central banks to actually decide which ones they want to take and run with, and maybe push to production, how specifically they want to do the setup and things like that. I guess the last part of your question I'll address is how I came to sit where I'm sitting today. It's a little bit of a meandering path through my career, but my background is computer science and engineering. I worked as an engineer for a while. I led delivery teams across different types of technology stacks. Then I spent some time in education and technical education, where I helped kind of build a lot of content and ran kind of technical education boot camp courses, basically. And then almost by coincidence, I got involved in the crypto community very, very early on. I was based out of Toronto at the time, and a lot of the early crypto people came from Toronto, so I had the opportunity to intersect with them in a way that today seems very, very casual considering where things are today. And then I started working for a company called R3, who built Corda, and just circumstantially, the Bank of Canada very, very early on had the foresight to engage with CBDC in a project called Project Jasper. I worked on Project Jasper through R3, and then from there, kind of worked on a lot of central banking projects between then and joining the BIS. So by the time I joined the BIS, I'd have some depth of knowledge of central banks around the world on a lot of the different CBDC projects that were going on.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Yeah, thanks for sharing. That's a really interesting background, and thank you for the context on the BIS in general. I think we can definitely turn the conversation to some of what you mentioned around how BIS is advising on central banks' interest in improving global cross-border payments. So if you could, what in your view or BIS's view and just the view of the industry in general are some of the biggest pain points today in global cross-border payments and settlements, and how can CBDCs help address, or new technologies and CBDCs help address these issues from your view?
Yeah, so cross-border payments is a great place to start. I think in general, for anybody, just on a personal experience level, for anybody, and sorry, maybe before I go into that, I forgot to give my disclaimer intro that I usually forget to give until the very end, so I'll try to remember this time. Really, any opinions that I express here are really my own and not necessarily the opinions of the institution. Okay, so with that out of the way, cross-border payments in general are expensive, they're slow, and they're opaque. So you generally pay high fees. You generally don't really know when the recipient of the payment will actually receive the payment, and you don't know where the payment is in the duration of that time that it takes it to get from the payee to the payer. Now, there's different reasons to that, and I'm not going to suggest that CBDC can solve everything, because that's likely not the case. But it comes down to this fundamental issue that cross-border payments are almost a byproduct of the way they weren't an explicit requirement when the financial system was designed the way it was designed. So it almost was something that we didn't think about when we built our central banks and we built our payment systems and so on and so forth. So it has been solved through private sector solutions, big banks with holding liquidity across different countries, nostro vostro accounts, correspondent banking, all kinds of things like that. And in general, it's worked for a long time and it's worked very well. But as our economies become more digital, the borders between countries and the trade flows between countries increase, the requirements of cross-border payments all of a sudden increase with that, right? When I go to an online retailer, I live in Switzerland right now, I couldn't care less where my product is really coming from, let alone the supply chain that leads to that product, right? So there's a lot of money moving across borders, and the payment systems that underpin those flows simply weren't designed to do that. So there's been a lot of band-aid solutions that were put on top of it. So if you think about those three things, they're expensive, they're slow, and they're opaque. Let's take two very distinct examples that can bring those to life. The first one is, on the retail side, let's go to the smallest denomination that you can have one-way remittance flows from foreign workers from one larger economy generally to a smaller economy. Those remittances are incredibly expensive. They're incredibly slow. And the people that send the money generally have no concept of if it's received, how it's received, and what's going on in between. So there's kind of a use case there that's very, very obvious, right? Why do we need to send money around like this, specifically when the people that are sending this money around need it most? Then there's a different use case, same problems, expensive, slow, and opaque, when you think about wholesale payments. So you can think about let's take an example of a corporate treasury. So I'm a big corporate, I have offices all around the world. I need to make payroll in Hong Kong next Monday, but it's a banking holiday, and I need to move, X amount of money in the millions from one place to the other. There's settlement risk, it takes time, it's expensive, and I need to mobilize capital across the globe in a way that's frictionless and easy and transparent. And today's solutions, there are active things out there that are trying to resolve some of these things, and some of them are quite successful. But I think to bring it back into CBDC and central bank innovation, what we're really talking about is the base layer of money. And what we're really thinking about is, how does this base layer of money, central bank money, M0, the safest form of settlement asset available to our society, can this be re-engineered to facilitate these use cases as an explicit requirement, not an after the fact kind of arrangement? So that's kind of the lay of the land. Those are the problems, and CBDC could be something that would help solve this.
That's great response. So just to quote a report that I saw that you had co-authored under the Bank of International Settlements, there was a quote that I think gives some context to the next question. And it was summing up some of the projects that have been worked on relating to CBDCs and experimentation with them across different central banks. And it said that the projects show that platforms with 2 or more CBDCs are technically feasible and offer a range of benefits that can lead to faster, cheaper, and more transparent payments across borders. While this is desirable, questions remain unanswered related to policy considerations, legal and regulatory frameworks, and basic operational economics that might call into question the viability of multi-CBDC platforms. So since this report was published almost 2 years ago now, or it was in 2022 at some point, with regards to policy considerations, legal and regulatory frameworks, and basic operational economics, where do these things stand now? And have we seen progress in addressing these issues or roadblocks? And if so, how close are we to turning these test projects into action on the ground? And Mickey, if you have anything you want to add to this, feel free, but I know it's it's going to be a broad answer there.
Mickey, anything from your side?
No, go ahead. I'll come back in afterwards.
Sounds good.
Okay. Okay, so thank you. So yeah, I mean, as you very accurately bring out, I think with a lot of our MCBDC work, so MCBDC work in general stands for multi-CBDC platforms, and like I said at the beginning of our conversation, we've shown the technical feasibility of a lot of these solutions, and kind of to a large extent, a lot of the friction now is in this taking it from something that I would think about as like a laboratory, or maybe we took it out of the laboratory and we ran it once around the racetrack, right, in a very kind of controlled environment. Just think, well, what does it actually take to put it on the road, and try to kick the tires a little bit. And yeah, policy, legal, and operational structures are very, very complex topics that are multifaceted, and driving consensus across these things is an ongoing challenge. I think we have made a lot of progress in the sense that a lot of the experimental work that we do refines these questions to a place where they are actually addressable, right? So just be able to now say, hey, what are the policy issues? We're actually able to say the policy issues are 1, 2, 3, 4, and they may be 1, 2, 3, 4 in one economy, they may be 4, 5, 6 in a different economy, but at least we're able to articulate them in a way that's concise and addressable. I can talk a little bit about what these issues are and how they're being, a little bit of what the approach has been to them over time. But the general sense is that these things vary widely depending on the geography. So we've done 3 multi-CBDC projects, two in Asia, 1 in Europe. There are definitely more coming in different parts of the world. And while the technology, maybe has some slight nuances, the policy, legal, and operational issues generally vary very widely between different countries and different jurisdictions. I'll give you one example. When we think about policy and we think about monetary policy, specifically around monetary controls around your money sitting outside of your country. Different countries have a very different approach to these type of issues, and being able to build technology in these CBDC platforms that we can talk to different central banks and say, hey, if you want to conduct your policies like this, if you want offshore balances to be totally liquid and free, or you want to bring them in at the end of the day, or you want to put caps and restrictions on outflows or inflows, these are all tools that we can describe, at least at a technical implementation level, and kind of open and give the policymakers the ability to maybe not decide, but understand how their decisions will impact other parts of the solution. For example, legal, I mean, one of the interesting things about legal, specifically with multi-CBDC systems, for example, is what constitutes settlement. So that notion of settlement finality, specifically settlement finality in central bank money, is very, very important, right? It's that point of no return. After settlement finality,
I'm going to stop it there. But one of the things that he mentions or will mention is Project Mariana. So I want to just show you that real quick. Project Mariana. And the reason why is because when you look at Project Mariana, it was developed jointly by 3 BIS Innovation Hub Centers, the Swiss, Singapore, and Euro Hub Centers. Now, if you look at these 3 things, a common technical token standard provided by a public blockchain, bridges for the seamless transfer of WCBDCs between different networks, and an automated market maker. The reason I have automated market maker highlighted is because that's another place of where XRP comes in. So if you go to XRP's XRP Ledger, they talk about automated market makers and how the automated market maker works. So if you go to XRP Ledger's website, You can read more about automated market makers, but basically, this is all XRP. And this is why XRP is going to be pivotal in the infrastructure with Quant and with XLM and the banking structure. Okay, as I wrap this up, this is where I have on my tinfoil conspiracy hat, if you want to say that, but I believe there's no coincidences. So some of you are old enough to remember this 1988 Economist cover that had this phoenix rising out of the ashes with these burned currencies. He has this crown on his head, and he has this gold chain with a gold coin that says 10/2018. Well, me and Coco G, we went ahead and we did a deep dive. I don't know, maybe it was put into our spirit, but here's what we came up with. And, take it upon yourselves to do your own research to see if maybe I'm just a conspiracy theorist or maybe there's some truth to what I'm saying. So, if you look, the item he has on his head is called a fleur de lis. And if you look, that fleur de lis is part of the Fugger family crest. And then if you look at the coin, that icon underneath the 10 looks very similar to the Stellar icon. Okay, so here's where it gets interesting. Stellar was created, or there's a person named Ryan Fugger who, when you look up Ryan Fugger, who he is, Ryan Fugger, let me just show you, let me just take you so that you can see what I'm saying. So Ryan Fugger is a Canadian software and web developer originally credited with conjuring the idea behind what would later become Ripple. So he's not talked about with Ripple, but behind the scenes he is. And Stellar is always considered the sister or little sister to XRP. Now, they tie him back to 2004. Ryan Fugger and Ripple. In Ripple Pay's early stages, before cryptocurrency even existed, the platform functioned as a financial service for online communities. Without knowing it, Fugger's vision of a decentralized and trust-based monetary system set the foundation for Ripple's eventual takeover. Now, let's talk about Ryan Fugger. Ryan, or the Fugger family. The Fugger family the House of Fugger is a German family that has or was historically a prominent group of European bankers, members of the 15th and 16th century. Okay, bankers, XRP, XLM, makes a lot of sense. Now, the banking family replaced, so here's what's interesting. A lot of people are familiar with the Medici family, who influenced all of Europe during the Renaissance. The Fuggers took over many of the Medici's assets and their political power and influence. They were closely affiliated with the House of Habsburg, whose rise to world power they financed. Now, most people are familiar with the Rothschilds, but the Fuggers are kind of a family that have operated behind the scenes. And so there's a lot of interesting how he is into crypto. He's from this family. Now, if I went on Chat GPT and I couldn't find it, they say that there's no credible evidence suggesting that Ryan Fugger is a member of this family. But I find it pretty interesting that this cover, let me go back to the cover again. This cover that has the fleur de lis is part of the family crest of the Fuggers. A Fugger helped bring Ripple to light, and it has the stellar icon. Now, these two XRP Stellar are part of the ISO 20022 family. Like I said, if you want to own Bitcoin, if you want to own Ethereum, if you want to own Solana, there's nothing wrong with having some of these. But when you look at the big picture, in my opinion, Quant, XRP, and XLM are three tokens you definitely want to have in your stable, because when everything is brought to the table within the next 5 years, those three could be the powerhouses of this new world economy.